When inshaAllah ta'ala we leave this world, and everyone will leave this world, when those text messages are given with your name on it, when the phone calls come, so and so has passed away and that so and so is you, we want to maximize the impact of that legacy so that the du'as come from the heart, so that the istighfar is given globally, so that your impact in life is truly felt and appreciated in death, so that your sadaqah and your du'as and your good deeds last much longer than your finite time on this earth. So here are 3 pointers from the Quran and Sunnah about how to maximize our legacy that we leave in this world. First and foremost, all that we do, the ultimate blessing will come based upon our sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every deed that you do, the proportionality of the barakah will come based upon how much ikhlas you have in your heart. Whatever you do must be done purely for the sake of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to please mankind, not to boost your own ego, not to create fame for yourself, no, to please Allah and Allah alone. And history bears witness to this reality. Imam Malik wrote his famous book, Al-Muwatta, and he was the first to compile a book of hadith, and in his lifetime it became a fad that so many scholars started writing Muwatta'at, their own versions of the Muwatta. One of his students said, "Oh Imam Malik, now what? You wrote one book and there are dozens of books out there. What is going to happen now?" Imam Malik said, "Ma kana lillahi baqa." What was done for the sake of Allah shall remain. What was done for the sake of Allah shall remain. And Allah showed that reality. Nobody knows the names of the other scholars, and here we are talking about Imam Malik. Imam al-Nawawi wrote his famous book, Arba'in Nawawiyah. Do you know, brothers and sisters, there were more than 50 famous scholars who wrote their own versions of the Arba'in. Arba'in of so and so, Arba'in of so and so. But why is that the only one of them is so well known that we say Al-Arba'in? In our heads, Arba'in Nawawi comes to mind. None of the other 50 names comes to mind. It is insha'Allah ta'ala because of the level of sincerity, the level of ikhlas that we do something and we do it only to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So point number 1, purify internally before you begin externally, and Allah will bless you and give you a legacy. Point number 2, discover your talent and your passion. Find out what you are good at. Find out what is the main thing that you can contribute to. People can contribute and leave a legacy in anything that is beneficial to mankind. As long as we have iman and believe in Allah, anything that we benefit other people with shall be a legacy for us. Millions of people have left legacies because they impacted lives, because they helped people, because they taught somebody something useful. And we firmly believe that any believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who benefits others with sincerity, whoever he benefits, he shall get some of the ajr as well. So you have to discover your own passion, your talent, what are you good at, what can you do that perhaps other people cannot do. And that is something only you can answer for yourselves. So point number 2, to create a legacy, find your niche, find what you're good at, and begin to master it. Point number 3, once you have ikhlas, once you have a plan, once you have a vision, well then you can't just sit and do nothing. You have to work, you have to strive, you have to be engaged, you have to be active, you have to make sacrifices, and you cannot give up and you cannot be lazy and waste your time. You shall not establish a legacy by staying in your rooms and playing video games all day. You shall not establish a legacy by watching Netflix dramas every month and week that they come out. Legacies are built by what you do, by your actions, by getting involved, by being in the trenches. You have to keep on trying and trying and trying and put in the effort before something is done. And again, every single person in human history attained that success because of the actions that they have done. Your legacy is linked proportionally to your actions. The more you put in, the more the potential for the legacy. You have to have strong himmah, strong desire, and make your actions back up to that desire. Our Prophet ﷺ would seek refuge in Allah from al-ajzi wal-kasal, from giving up and being lazy. He would seek refuge in Allah from giving up and being lazy. The believer does not give up. The believer is not lazy. The believer is dedicated to the max. There are so many anecdotes that come to mind when it comes to dedication. The anecdote that comes to mind when it comes to putting in the effort, Imam Malik ibn Anas, the greatest scholar of Medina of that era, he had 500 students on average, sometimes more than 1,000. 500 students would come and write the Muwatta from him. And once during his class, there was a carnival that came to town, and in that carnival they had processions, they had jugglers and clowns, and in that carnival, they had an elephant in it. The people of Medina had never seen an elephant. The people of Medina, seeing the commotion is coming, you can hear the tambourines and whatever, and all of the students like you, they're young obviously, all of them say, oh, there is an elephant. And they all rush out of the class and go to see the elephant. Imam Malik lowers his head and starts reading from his book. He looks up, 500 has gone, only one remains. Only one remains from the whole gathering. He asks, who are you? He said, I am Yahya ibn Yahya from Andalus. Imam Malik said, don't you want to go see the elephant? All your colleagues have gone. He said, I have come from Andalus to study with Imam Malik. There are plenty of elephants in this world to see, but there is only one Imam Malik. Hearing this, Imam Malik said, you are Rajul Aqil, you are an intelligent man. And at this time, Yahya ibn Yahya was unknown. 50 years down the line, every single book of Muwatta, go look at the title, it is the version of Yahya ibn Yahya al-Laythi. This is the standard version of the Muwatta, that this young man who showed the dedication, who showed frivolity. It is halal to go watch a procession. To see an elephant, nothing wrong with that. A little bit of entertainment, everybody does that. However, the more you exert yourself in your field, the more serious you are. The more serious you are about your output, the higher your legacy will go, the more massive levels your legacy will reach. Yahya bin Yahya was the main person who introduced the Maliki madhab to the whole of Andalus. And to this day, North Africa is Maliki because of this one student of Imam Malik. He was the main student of Imam Malik because he had that himmah, and he was the student who showed that dedication, and because of him, so many people have been impacted. One other example of dedication, the famous scholar Ibn Abbas. Remember Ibn Abbas, we consider him a scholar, but when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, he was only 13 years old. None of the senior Sahaba taught him to be a scholar. He was 13 years old, he was a youngster. He was the next generation. Ibn Abbas said, when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, I said to myself, let me go and learn from the companions before they leave as well. And so I said to my best friend who I used to play with, I said to him, let us go and study with the companions when they're still alive. So my friend said to me, 13-year-old friend, my friend said to me, and who do you think you are? Who is ever going to need your knowledge? You are just a kid like us. Who is going to be concerned about you? Ibn Abbas said, فَتَرَكْتُهُ, I left him. And I went to the Sahaba's houses, and I went and memorized hadith from them, and I started writing down hadith from them. And many years down the line, I saw that friend of mine coming to my gathering and benefiting from me. And he would say, woe to me, how I wish I had studied with you back in the day. Subhanallah, you put in the effort, you're going to see the result. You show your eagerness and dedication, and the reality is going to manifest. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the right intentions, allow us to set our goals, and may He give us the dedication so we can accomplish our goals. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, once we have the right intention, once we have the right goal, once we have put in the effort, we have to realize, as with all things in life, nothing happens without the will of Allah. So if you want to leave a positive legacy, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your deeds. Because what is a legacy? It is qabul, it is acceptance. When you have qabul, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا. When Allah has accepted, then the people will accept. Your goal is not the people, your goal is Allah. But when Allah accepts, the people will accept as well. And that is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Yasin, and with this I will end. وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا وَآثَارَهُمْ وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا وَآثَارَهُمْ. We shall write down all the good deeds they have sent forward, and we shall write down their legacies they leave behind. قَدَّمُوا, what they have sent forward. What have we sent forward? The good deeds that we do in this world, our sadaqah, our zakah, our salah. That is قَدَّمُوا. What is آثَارَهُمْ? آثَارَهُمْ, what they leave behind when they move on to the next world. What is the legacy that is still around even though they themselves are not here anymore? How many people did they impact? That is athar. How many orphans did they sponsor? That is athar. How many people did they bring happiness to? That is athar. What sadaqah jariyah did they do that is moving on even after they have left? That is athar. So Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, your legacies, I am writing it down, don't worry. Brothers and sisters, we want to maximize the legacies of our lives because we have only one life to live. And there are people amongst us, subhanAllah, they live one life, yet their legacy span the entire globe. Look at the great giants of this deen. Look at those who helped spread this religion, what they have done. Even if we don't know their names, we are all part of their legacy. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is giving them a reward, even though they lived one life. And even though we are not conscious of how we are being impacted by their deeds, Allah is writing down the ajr for them. So that is how you establish legacies. Set your intentions, you find your goal, you do your work, and then you ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to accept. To conclude, dear brothers and sisters, every one of us should be thinking about this question of what shall be my legacy before others are talking about your legacy and you are no longer here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to leave the best of legacies and be role models for all those around us. Allahumma inni da'i fa'aminu. Allahumma la tad'a lana fi hadha al-yawmi dhamman illa ghafarta wa la hamman illa farajta wa la daynan illa qadayta wa la maridan illa shafita wa la 'asiran illa yassarta. اللهم اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم من أرادنا وأراد الإسلام بسوء فاشغله بنفسه واجعل تدميره في تدبيره يا قوي يا عزيز. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروا على نعمه وزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. شهر الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. ألم تر أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به ثمرات مختلفا ألوانها ومن الجبال جدد بيض وحمر مختلف ألوانها وغرابيب سود ومن الناس والدواب والأنعام مختلف ألوانه كذلك إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء إن الله عزيز غفور إن الذين يتلون كتاب الله وأقاموا الصلاة وأنفقوا مما رزقناهم سرا وعلانية يرجون تجارة لن تبور. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Please wait for a second. Don't rush. You might have to hear something. Okay? If anybody parked in the masjid parking lot blocking anybody, your car will be towed. Your car will be towed. So do not park unless it's a proper place. And don't park in the neighbor's parking spots. This is da'wah against Islam. If you park in the neighbor's parking spot, you're really making da'wah against Islam. So please don't do that. Walk 2-3 blocks. It's easier. Also, if you want to park your car overnight in the masjid parking lot or during the day, sometimes somebody wants to come in and park in there all day to go to the university, you have to have a sticker. Otherwise, your car will be towed. It will cost you about $175. So have a sticker, otherwise you will get towed. You can help the masjid. Please contact us if you want to help the masjid in any way. Let us know. Friday prayer, masks are required. Mask is required, so you have to wear a mask on Friday. Otherwise, other prayers you don't have to. It's preferred if you do. We have several people who got the COVID, so we don't want you to have it. We don't want you to give it to anybody. Weekend school, inshallah, will start this Sunday. New students, they can register. I'll give you a sheet if you want to. Arabic at 10 o'clock in the morning. Islamic study at 10:45. Break, and then Quran study. Girls Empowerment Workshop for Muslim girls is going to be today at CIMIC at 6:30 p.m. I'll give you information if you want to. This is for girls, middle school or high school. Muslim moms also are meeting at 10 o'clock in the Colbert Park in Savoy. Sister Zainab started the workshop on classes for exercise. Please see her. I think she's here if you have any questions. Friends of Champagne, if you would like to contribute or to help in the food pantry, please contact Brother Uwais. Jazakumullah khair. You can donate to the masjid, please. And also today we have Spanish lunch. So please help yourself, and it's $7 per person. Jazakumullah khair. Donation. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, we had a leak in the bathroom in the basement. Ceiling leak, yeah. And it's a newer, looked like it was a new edition of the bathroom. So, like, the exhaust had a, I think they used like fiber or plastic material vents, and it rotted out. So the exhaust was just dropping humidity back on the ceiling. No, we just have to catch that. I mean, it wasn't there. Yeah, and it wasn't even there. Like within 2 weeks we moved in, we noticed a hole going, and I'm like, okay, why is there a hole? And then the whole head went right through. So we called check the pipes in there. So then the bandit was like, and we were able to see that there's the unfinished side of the basement. You can see on top of the ceiling. So yeah, it looks like there's a burned up vent. So it turned out the exhaust pipe. Yeah, I mean the exhaust fans, yeah, the vent blowing from the exhaust fan outside. I think it was just, it rotted out, and so it ripped. And so the exhaust now in basement's always humid, so we were using that fan there. And so we were just taking that humidity. pretty much not as bad. Luckily, it was just a small fence, but now there's a nice ceiling with a nice big hole in it. Those guys, they were still living in the 90s. The bulbs were still the old bulbs. Change all those. Even the thermostat is style, programmable. I mean, I think it's really, the house was built in 2002. Oh, they, not really. I mean, I think probably in mid to late 50s. Because I mean, I think they, like, the wife was a head of the department in the university of arts. And she, I guess with her, it seemed like it was. नहीं तो I haven't heard back when I was बंदे को मैसेज किया है वही ने कहा कि they talk to them and they तो ऐसा ना हो पहुंचे वो मैंने कोई प्रोग्रेशन नहीं किया मैंने अच्छा उनकी बाकी बंद हो गई कोई बंदा कोई और प्रोग्राम करा लो नहीं तो आज तक ना कि भाई मेरी कोई बात नहीं अच्छा ऐसा ना हो कि you know कोई और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट तो मैं ऐसी जॉब में की हूँ मैं जब से आदमी पढ़ा है किसी गवर्नमेंट के जॉब पे जा रहा हूँ Yeah? Come. No, you can take it here. Come. I thought.
I don't know. It's weird. You have one set of. These. From where? Chipotle. No.
No? Do it. Suleiman, come. Suleiman. Do it.
No. It's over. No. Again? No. Last time. بابا عملت Yeah, I'm gonna get chicken rice and potatoes.
Next August ان شاء الله الشيخ هو ان شاء الله
No, not in the house. What? No. Also said that nemesis. Okay, now.
Brothers, if you don't have a mask, please go and get the mask. We have a bunch of masks in the lobby. Thank you. Mask, brother?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, when those whom you know get a phone call or a text message that you have passed away, what is the first memory that your friends or family will have of you? When the news of your death spreads amongst the people, how many people will be impacted by your death? How many people will get a text message and a phone call? When the people hear of your demise, what will be the quantity of people who will genuinely grieve that you have left this world? When your name is mentioned as no longer having been here and people say that I was just with him yesterday, I was with him last week, may Allah forgive him, may Allah have mercy on him. When they say these phrases, are they merely phrases uttered by the tongue, or will they actually be du'as that are emanating from the depth of the soul? What will be the quality of istighfar that your family and friends, your acquaintances and relatives will make for you when you have gone? Even more scary than this, that when you leave this world, will there be people who, because of your own actions, because of your own hurting or stealing or grieving or hurting them, will there be people that might, astaghfirullah, will actually be rejoicing secretly that alhamdulillah, good riddance, he's gone? These are the questions that we should think about now when we have the time to impact these answers. Brothers and sisters, our father Ibrahim alayhi salam made dua to Allah, رَبِّ هَبْ لِي الْحُكْمَ وَأَلْحِقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. My Lord, grant me wisdom, make me amongst the pious, and grant me a reputation of honor amongst the later generations. Let the later people respect me and honor me, Let me leave a legacy that will be so bright, millions and billions will remember me and will do istighfar for me. And his dua was granted because no human being is more respected quantity-wise than our Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So to want a positive reputation, to want to leave a legacy that others remember, in and of itself, it is an Islamic goal. It is what every one of us should be striving for. Therefore, in today's khutbah, I want to mention 3 pointers, especially for our young brothers and sisters, about how to maximize our legacy so that when we, inshallah ta'ala, leave this world, and every one of us will leave this world, when those text messages are given with your name on it, when the phone calls come, so and so have passed away and that so and so is you, we want to maximize the impact of that legacy so that du'as come from the heart, so that the istighfar is given globally, so that the impact in life is truly felt and appreciated in death, and so that the sadaqah and the du'as and the good deed lasts much longer than your finite time on this earth. So here are 3 pointers from the Quran and Sunnah about how to maximize our legacy that we leave in this world. First and foremost, all that we do, the ultimate blessings will come based upon our sincerity to Allah. Every deed that you do, the proportionality of the barakah will come based upon how much ikhlas you have in your heart. Whatever you do must be done purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to please mankind, not to boost your own ego, not to create fame for yourself, no, to please Allah and Allah alone. And history bears witness to this reality. Imam Malik wrote his famous book Al-Muwatta, and he was the first to compile a book of hadith, and in his lifetime it became a fad that every other scholar was writing Muwatta, their own versions of the Muwatta. One of his students said, "Oh Imam Malik, now what? You wrote one book and now there are dozens of books. What's going to happen?" Imam Malik said, "Ma kana lillahi baqa." What was done for the sake of Allah shall remain. What was done for the sake of Allah shall remain. And Allah showed that reality. Nobody knows the names of the other scholars. And here we are talking about Imam Malik. Imam al-Nawawi wrote his famous book called Arba'in Nawawiyah. Do you know, brothers and sisters, there are more than 50 famous scholars who wrote their own versions of the Arba'in of so-and-so, Arba'in of so-and-so. So why is that when we say Al-Arba'in, only one name comes to mind, and none of the other 50 names comes to mind? It is insha'Allah ta'ala because of the level of sincerity, the level of ikhlas, that we do something and we do it only to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So point number 1, purify internally before you begin externally. And Allah will bless you and give you a legacy. Point number 2, discover your talent and your passion. Find out what you're good at. Find out what is the main thing that you can contribute. People can contribute and leave a legacy in anything that is beneficial to mankind. As long as we have iman and believe in Allah, anything that we benefit other people with shall be a legacy for us. Millions of people have left legacies because they impact their lives, because they help people, because they taught somebody something useful, and we firmly believe that any believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who benefits others with sincerity, whoever he benefits, he shall get some of that pleasure as well. So you have to discover your own passions, your talent, what are you good at, what can you do that perhaps other people cannot do, and that is something that you yourself can answer for yourselves. So point number 2, to create a legacy, find your niche, find what you are good at, and begin to master that. Point number 3, once you have a class, once you have a plan, once you have a vision, well then you can't just sit and do nothing. You have to work, you have to strive, you have to be engaged, you have to be active, you have to make sacrifices, and you cannot give up, and you cannot waste your time. You shall not establish a legacy by staying in your rooms and playing video games all day. You shall not establish a legacy by watching Netflix every other week that it comes out. Legacies are built by what you do, by your actions, by getting involved, by being in the trenches. And you have to keep on trying and trying and trying and putting the effort before something is done. And again, every single successful person in human history attained that because of the actions that they have done. Your legacy is linked proportionally to the effort that you put to your own actions. The more you put in, the more the potential for that legacy. You have to have strong himma, strong desire, and make sure your actions back up to that desire. Our Prophet ﷺ would seek refuge in Allah from al-ajzi wal-kasal. He would seek refuge in Allah from laziness and from giving up. The believer does not give up. The believer is not lazy. The believer is dedicated to the max. There are so many anecdotes that come to mind when it comes to dedication. The anecdote that comes to mind when it comes to putting in the effort, Imam Malik ibn Anas, the greatest scholar of Medina of his era, he had 500 students on average. Sometimes he had more than 1,000 students. 500 students would come and write the muwatta from him. And once during his class, there was a carnival that came to town, and that carnival in it had processions and jugglers and clowns and had an elephant in it. The people of Medina had never seen an elephant before. The people of Medina not seeing an elephant, the commotion is coming, and you can hear the tambourines and whatever, and all the students like you, they are young, obviously. All of them say, oh, there is an elephant. They all leave the class and go outside to watch the procession, and Imam Malik lowers his head and starts reading in his book. He looks up, 500 have gone, and only one remains. He asks, who are you? He says, I am Yahya ibn Yahya from Andalus. Imam Malik said, don't you want to go see the elephant like your colleagues? All your colleagues have gone. He said, I have come from Andalus to study with Imam Malik. There are plenty of elephants in this world to go see, but there is only one Imam Malik. And Imam Malik said, you are Rajul Aqil, you are an intelligent man. And at this point of time, Yahya ibn Yahya was unknown. 50 years down the line, every single book of Muwatta, go look at the title, it is the version of Yahya ibn Yahya al-Laythi. The young man who showed the dedication, who sacrificed frivolity. It is halal to go watch a procession. To see an elephant, nothing wrong with that. A little bit of entertainment, everybody does that. However, the more you exert yourself in your field, the more serious you are about your own output, the more your legacy will go to massive levels. Yahya ibn Yahya was the main person who introduced the Maliki madhab to all of Andalus. And to this day, North Africa is Maliki because of this one student of Imam Malik. Because he had that himma, and he was the main student of Imam Malik, and he showed that dedication. One other example of dedication, the famous scholar Ibn Abbas. Remember, Ibn Abbas, we considered him to be a scholar, but when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, he was only 13 years old. None of the senior Sahaba thought him to be a scholar. He was a youngster. He was the next generation, Ibn Abbas, when the Prophet ﷺ passed away. He said, I said to myself, let me go and study from the companions before they leave as well. And so I said to my best friend who used to play with me, I said to him, let us go and study with the companions when they are still alive. So my friend said to me, 13-year-old friend, my friend said to me, and who do you think you are? Who is ever going to need your knowledge? Who is ever going to be concerned with you? You're just a kid, just like us. Ibn Abbas said, I left him. I left him and I went to the Sahaba's house and began memorizing hadith, writing down hadith, until finally many years down the line, I saw that same friend of mine coming to my gatherings and benefiting from my knowledge. And he would say, woe to me, how I wish I had studied with you back in the day. SubhanAllah, you put in the effort, you're going to see the results. You show your earnestness and dedication, and the reality is going to manifest. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to have the right intentions and allow us to set our goals, and may He give us the dedication so we can accomplish our goals. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولكم واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله اما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, once we have the right intention, once we have the right goal, once we have put in the effort, we have to realize as with all things in this world, nothing happens without Allah's will. So if you want to leave a positive legacy, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your deed, because that's what a legacy is. It's qabul, it's acceptance. When you have qabul, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا, when Allah has accepted, then the people will accept. Your goal is not the people, your goal is Allah, but when Allah accepts, the people will accept as well. And that is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Yasin, and with this I end. وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا وَآثَارَهُم وَنَكْتُبُ مَا قَدَّمُوا وَآثَارَهُم. We shall write down all the good deeds they have sent forward, and we shall write down the legacies they leave behind. قَدَّمُوا, what is قَدَّمُوا? What have we sent forward? The good deeds that we do in this world, our sadaqah, our zakah, our salah, that's قَدَّمُوا. What is آثَارَهُم? آثَارَهُم, what they leave behind when they move on to the next world. What is the legacy that is still around even though they themselves are not there? How many people did they impact? That is athar. How many orphans did they sponsor? That is athar. How many people did they bring happiness to? That is athar. What sadaqah jariyah did they make that is moving on even after they have left? That is athar. So Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us, the legacies, I am writing it down, don't worry. Brothers and sisters, we may want to maximize the legacy of our lives before, because we have only one life to live. And there are people amongst us, subhanAllah, they live one life, yet their legacy span the entire globe. Look at the great giants of this deen, look at those who helped spread this religion. What they have done, even if we don't know their names, they're all part of their legacy. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is giving them reward, even though they live one life, and even though we're not conscious of how we're benefiting from them. So that's how we establish a legacy. Set your intentions, you find your goal, you do your work, and then you ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to accept. To conclude, dear brothers and sisters, every one of us should think about this question of what shall be my legacy before others are talking about your legacy and you are no longer there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be the best of legacies and be role models for all those around us. Allahumma inni da'in fa'amin. اللهم لا تدع لنا في هذا اليوم ذنبا الا غفرته ولا هما الا فرجته ولا دينا الا قضيته ولا مريضا الا شفيته ولا عسيرا الا يسرته. اللهم اغفر لنا ولاخواننا الذين سبقونا بالايمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين امنوا ربنا انك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين، اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين، اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين. اللهم من ارادنا واراد الاسلام بسوء فاشغله بنفسه واجعل تأمينه في تدبيره يا قوي يا عزيز. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروا على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Please stand shoulder to shoulder and straighten up your lines.
Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم
خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah everyone. Some Friday announcements. Jazakallah khair to our Khatib, Brother Farhan. If you park during the day or night in the masjid parking lot, you must get a parking lot sticker. Also, please do not park in the neighborhood parking areas. They will throw you. It will be very costly and will give Islam a bad name. To help the masjid, you can volunteer in masjid functions. Contact Brother Tanveer at 217-721-4760, 217-721-4760, or Brother Waleed at 217-819-8112. 217-819-8112. Masks are still required for Friday prayers. For other prayer times, it's still recommended, but not required. We ask that you bring your own masks and to save the masjid some money. CIMIC Weekend School will start this Sunday, August 28th. New students can register at, there's a link, bit.ly/CWS_reg, bit.ly/CWS_reg.